Get strong.
Alright, before we get into this video, if you can like, share, and subscribe to the channel, that would be very much appreciated. Alright, let's get straight into it.
That's what it was.
Like, okay, y'all basically said, okay, just a reminder, that a man should be judged if he can't produce anything, which I agree with. But at the same time, well, you said you can judge your man, which is actually even worse.
Honestly, that's one of the traits that's a red flag. For males looking for females, women that harshly judge you or judge you in public, because that's generally that's what's gonna lead to. Like, it only gets worse over time. It doesn't get better. And then on top of that, like when someone doesn't care because all the laws benefit them, they act like they are wearing armor, impenetrable armor that no one could like break them out of it. Because you like, once you hit that 10-year mark, I guarantee you everything's gonna change. Almost a guarantee. But I'm not saying every woman's gonna be like that, but a lot of women will. Which is the unfortunate part about it all. Let's get straight into it.
Nice try, though. However, when I asked you, should a woman be judged on her body count, all of you said no, pretty much, except for you.
That's two different topics. That's sex and that's...
It's the same topic, but for opposite genders. One wants sex, one wants... Come on, this is common sense. Come on.
I said no.
That's true. That's true. But men have to go out there and create their value. Women have to preserve it. And let's be honest here, preserving something that's valuable is much easier than going out there and creating something that's valuable, because you already have it.
Because I thought like that. Like, if it's good,
we have something
then obviously you're going to preserve it.
Saying.
Yes, your sexuality is your most valuable asset, which is why your looks and your sexuality are the two most powerful things that a woman has. I would argue it's probably your main bargaining chips with men, because quite frankly, men don't really care about anything else besides those two things. Everything else is a plus. If you cook and clean, like you mentioned, cool. But if you're not hot enough.
On the cooking and cleaning portion, a lot of women say they won't do that unless you are married to them, which is a trap. Let me just get that out the way. You think if they didn't cook or clean for you while you're in the dating stage, that's somehow gonna snap on, and they're gonna do it now? Do you really think that? I say be careful out there, guys. I say it right now, it's a dangerous world.
If it doesn't matter. So I just found it interesting how men can be judged for being lazy, but you shouldn't be judged for making personal decisions that affect you. See the contradiction there?
But why are you choosing to choose sex and that specifically as the example?
A woman's utility typically comes from her sexuality. A man's utility typically comes from what he creates. This is why an ugly man that has status can still get a bad bitch, whereas an ugly woman that has status can't necessarily get a top-tier guy.
That's also because of certain ways that men think. Certain men think a certain way, so they think that they're...
My God. This woman, this episode was like the most airheaded woman I've ever heard. Like, she's in the top 5 that's ever been on the show, honestly.
Explain.
I feel like certain men think like that it's just like a chain in command. Like, certain men feel like they're just above women. So it's like, even if the woman is like...
Okay, let me just keep this a buck. Both parties need to do their own vetting. You need to be with a man that loves you and doesn't want to abuse the fact that you are with him and you are you have submitted to him. This is the vetting part of it all. A man needs to know. I mean, the man portion is honestly the hardest side, because the lifestyle most men want is basically a stay-home wife. To a degree, most of them want a woman that has a job because they want them to have something to lose themselves. Typically, not all the time. Typically, that's what the dynamic needs to be nowadays. A lot of households can't survive on one income, so both parties need to do both. I guess they need to do both jobs, which is partially why it's really extremely hard for men to get a woman's submission, because they still typically need to work, which is a hard part of like this age we live in. Me personally, I'd want to stay home wife. I don't want this like equal like we both have to go to work thing. It's not good, because it's super unfair. I'm not gonna lie, because she would work the same hours as I do, and then she would she would also have to come home and cook, clean, and all that stuff. Like it wouldn't make sense, honestly. I want the traditional marriage roles. That's what I particularly want. But I also know that I need to make a certain amount of money to get it. That's just reality.
Like above them, but she's not cute, then they're just gonna disregard her.
Okay, realistically speaking, do you want to lead a relationship, or do you think your man should lead a relationship?
I would rather a dominant relationship. I don't want to be able to boss
Would you prefer
my
to lead
man
the
around.
relationship, or would you prefer your man to lead the relationship?
I hate this question.
Broke people stuff, right?
I'm gonna let him leave.
Okay. What about you?
I'll say both.
That's impossible.
We both can be leaders.
No.
And
If it's
figure
a
it out.
partnership, you could
You
be
do
a
realize
I swear, I don't think people realize that when it comes to leading, if you can't, if you could choose the days that you want to lead, and today I want to lead, but tomorrow you lead, and if tomorrow you're leading, I'll decide if I want to let you lead. You ultimately you're the leader. That's how it works. All right. If you can decide when someone leads and when someone doesn't lead, you're the leader. He's not. You are. And there only could be one leader. Right? That's idiotic.
in order for someone to lead, therefore someone must follow. Correct.
Correct.
That's the very definition of a leader. So someone must follow. Who must follow? The man or the woman?
But what if his
Let her
decision is
finish.
bad?
Let her.
I guess the man.
And another thing I realized, every single one of these podcasts, other women try to they always try to bail another woman out. It's like this hive mind thing. I like the way they use it in Fresh Fit. It's a hive mind thing. Whenever a woman can't make up her own excuse on why something should work another way, another woman always tries to bail them out, especially if it's the narrative they're heading toward.
What about you?
I want my man to lead.
The man. Okay. What about you?
Both of us are leading the ship. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, she was just I combated the entire episode. Honestly, if I'm keeping buck, she just wants to be there just to debate every single topic, even if she's wrong, even if she knows she's wrong on a subject. She was just doing this the entire episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Both of you are leading the ship?
Yeah. That's how I feel.
Name one successful country that has 2 presidents.
I don't gotta name no successful country. That's
Okay.
just how I feel.
Well, how you feel versus what's real are 2 different things. Let's operate in
No.
reality here.
Because
Fuck
the
your
difference
feelings.
is
What
that I
actually works?
I actually have been in a relationship where we both are literally
Why aren't you together? I know he's gonna
working
say
together,
that.
and there was nothing wrong with it. That's
Okay,
I'm
why
saying
is that
how I
relationship
feel.
not here today?
Because we just don't want to be in a relationship.
Because it doesn't work. Now,
No,
going
it
back to what I was
did
saying,
work. That's
who
the
leads a relationship, a
difference.
man or a woman, if you had to pick one for it to actually work?
So a man has to leave
So-
for it to work.
Well, I'm just asking your
I'm
opinion.
asking
Okay, so then
I'll
you're
answer
asking
that,
my
don't worry.
opinion, and I'm giving you the answer that is my answer, but you're telling me that that's not going to work. I'm telling you.
No,
what
no,
my
I'm saying
answer is.
you can't have 2 leaders. There's got to be one. Just say the woman if you think it should be the woman.
No, I don't feel like it should be the woman or the man. I think that you both can literally lead. That's how I feel. That's
Feel
my
yet again.
opinion. That's my answer. That's it.
But that does not
Okay.
adhere to reality because by definition of leading, someone has to follow.
Okay, you can move on to the next girl. But
I
my
mean, I'm speaking
answer
English
is-
language. I mean, I think it's pretty clear. There has to be a leader and a follower in any type of dynamic. Who is it? For it to actually work.
If you had to pick one,
If you had to pick one, what do you think is optimal to the progression of human?
Like the entire episode, she was just combative for no reason. They're asking for one. Like you telling me you've gone through first through K, and like I said, first through 12th grade, and you telling me you don't know how to like a simple response to this? It's a one or the other. It's not the both. You can't have both. It's like saying yes and no for a question that's asking for yes or no.
Humankind.
For me, my parents led together. That's why I feel the way I do. That's
but
why I'm
someone
saying
made
that.
the choices, right? After the whole
No, my
debacle.
mom and dad literally would make choices together. That's what I'm saying.
No, but somebody made the final call, right,
Yes.
They made it together.
bro?
That's what you think. But
No,
someone
that
made the final
is-
decision.
All I'm saying is, you guys can feel what you feel, but I'm just telling you my opinion, and that is what it is. Like,
It's not
why can't
about what
move
we
on
feel.
from
It's
that?
about what's real. You can't have 2
Okay.
leaders.
My opinion.
There's
is
not
that
one
it's 2
Fortune
leaders.
500
That's
company
it. I'm
that
not
has
changing my
2
opinion.
leaders. There's not one country that has 2 presidents. There's not one type of organization that actually works and functions properly that has multiple leaders. Nothing gets done by committee. There has to be one final decision maker. This is how the world works.
That's what you guys think.
It's not what I think. It's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't agree. That's just it.
You don't agree with reality once again.
Okay.
You're delusional.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you? Who do you think should lead, man or woman, in a relationship optimally?
If I had to pick one, then
Yes.
the man.
Okay. And then you were saying something before that you were trying to say as far as like, what if the man can't lead?
Partnership.
Yeah, partnership. Because what if I have a certain knowledge that he doesn't have? And then we're going to have to go 50-50 and figure out how we're going to do this and do that.
You see, that's reasonable. Obviously, whenever it comes to leading, you still can take advice. You can still take the other person. I don't understand why people are so triggered by this. The best leaders, they basically they're more concerned about the other people. Those are typically the best leaders. You got to find you a man that cares about what you're feeling, not the fact that they'll bend to everything you say, but they'll put like how you feel into consideration. No one's saying go after a dictator. That is not what we're saying. Just go after someone who cares about you and wants a future with you, all right, and wants you to be happy. That's it.
Well, let me ask you this. An optimal relationship, would you prefer the man to be the leader and you don't have to go 50-50, or do you actually want a 50-50 relationship with a man, optimally speaking, if it was your choice?
No, he could lead.
There's the answer to your question. Women want leaders, by your own peers shown, besides one individual. Huh?
That wasn't my question.
No, but you were trying to say, well, like, man, like hierarchy, blah, 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 and you couldn't really articulate yourself. I'm trying to tell you that nature creates the hierarchy.
I'd rather my man be a leader.
Congratulations, you and 95% of other women. So what are you trying to argue, saying that men want hierarchies and stuff? Women want the hierarchies.
But
I
don't
think you mixed me up. I didn't say that.
but don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with 50-50 relationships, because a lot of 50-50 relationships actually work out.
There is
really
a lot wrong with it.
Please explain to me when they work out.
When it's just an understanding for both parties.
Really? Like in the United States? 50-50 partnerships?
I mean, it just depends. It just really depends on the people in the situation.
We do have a culture of 50-50 relationships nowadays, and I'd argue, writing a book on this shit, it does not work. And there's the stats to prove it. About 50% of marriages end in divorce. 70-80% of them are initiated by women. These are supposed to be men that women love and adore, but yet they're the ones initiating divorce. I mean, 50-50 partnerships typically don't work. I would argue that women don't want an equal. Do you want an equal? Do you want a guy as tall as you, makes as much money as you, and is as competent as you are?
No.
Okay, so you.
And on top of that, this is the worst part about it all, is when it's the opposite dynamic, when it's the female that makes most of the bread. She's the breadwinner of the relationship. Like I've not seen a relationship where a woman who is breadwinner doesn't turn into like a dictator. Even in sitcoms, they broadcast how disrespectful women are. Like, it doesn't, as a male, you should not want to be average. You should not want a life like that. I mean, let me not say you shouldn't want, you could do whatever you want, but it is not. Let me just say, your life's gonna be pretty bad. Your wife's gonna disrespect you openly. It's gonna get to that eventually. She's gonna get to openly disrespecting you, which is the thing. And then she's gonna belittle you, she's gonna degrade you, and all that sort of things. Because women are very, not all, but I keep saying women, but not all women, but a lot of women, they start to get like, they start to degrade you after a while. Like the amount of horror stories that I've heard, because in my profession, I hear a lot about a lot of stories about like the dynamic between male and female. And how like the happy wife, happy life dynamic happens, and a lot of men are unhappy in like their decisions on like life. It's pretty bad.
Want quite literally a superior, not an equal.
Yeah.
See, when you actually put the logic to it, like what women want and everything, the 50-50 partnership stuff sounds great on paper, but so does communism. It doesn't work in practice.
See, when it comes to 50-50, I wouldn't say 50-50. Like, I want a man to do everything.
This woman, she contradicts herself the entire show, and then it's like she doesn't even listen. That's the part that irritates me the most. She doesn't even listen. She contradicts and doesn't listen.
But if he's doing everything, I will return that at some point. Like, I'm gonna take you out. We're gonna date. I'll pay for
Yeah.
everything.
When?
That's what I mean when
I
I be
just
like,
said it.
50-50.
I just said it.
That's also another lie. Most women do not do this. Most women want to be taken out. Most women, they don't take you out that often. I'm the amount of females that will take you out is probably slim to none, honestly. And I'm talking about like take you out in the way that you would take a female out. Like you would be like, okay, this weekend we'll go out, next one we'll go out here, yada yada yada. Like you're planning dates. That's the dynamic most men and women have is the man makes the plans, and the man like decides everywhere we want to go. All right, that's typically how it goes. So I understand why the female typically doesn't do it, because it would be, she wouldn't be in her role as a woman. She wants to feel a certain type of way, and if she was making plans, it wouldn't be the way that she want to be feeling. And I for sure know most men wouldn't want to be feeling that way. It's just the way it is. All right.
I just said if he's doing everything, then it's like, and I really see you for me, then it's like I want to treat you right back the same. Like I don't want you to just do everything.
But that's showing effort every now and then. He's talking about like the whole relationship. Who's in charge? Who's making?
Exactly. She's showing effort every now and then, but most the way most relationships are gonna go is a man's gonna make the plans, and the female is just gonna be on board.
Making choices. And look, you can talk about it, but like at the end of the day, all right, my man got it. I'm gonna tell him how I feel. But if he didn't make that choice, that's up to him.
And let me ask you guys a better question. Earlier, you guys said society shouldn't judge you for your body count. Let me ask you this. If you meet a guy that's attractive, a leader, dominant, assertive, these traits that we talked about earlier that define a leader, do you think he's going to care about a woman's body count?
Yes. Come on.
Yes or no?
Possibly. It all depends on the guy, honestly. I would just say it depends on the guy. You never know. Some guys, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a guy.
Okay. What about you? What do you think?
I say because yeah.
There can't be a little critical thinking. That's always the cop out for answering that question. Do you think men? It's always I'm not a guy. That's always the cop out.
He holds a certain standard for himself.
So do you think yes or no?
Yes.
You think yes?
I can't answer a question for how a guy would feel about it.
What do you think he would?
What do you think then?
He would be like,
If he would care about my body count.
Yeah. Do you think a guy that on that level that has a shit together would care about a woman's body count? Do you think he would?
It depends on the guy.
Interesting. What about you?
It matters.
It matters to them?
Mhm.
Why?
I'm glad you brought that up. So I saw this story the other day on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
and it was basically about this guy saying, if you're gonna hire, you're interviewing 2 different people for the job, right?
Yeah.
One person, the last 5 years, they've had 5 jobs, so
Mhm.
one job per year. The other person, they've had like 25 jobs within 5 year span. Who are you gonna hire? The person that has multiple jobs, or the one that's at least stuck with 5 of them?
Good point.
A woman with fewer partners typically is what most men would choose. Keep it buck. Come on, it only makes sense. That means at least her loyalty is tied, and that dude had to do something that messed her up on some level in order for her to leave him. It wasn't just like a whim. Because if you got 20 dudes and you got 20 different relationships and you're only like 25, come on.
I don't know who said that, but I.
That answers your question about the bodies versus how many times you've had sex versus how many bodies you have.
I wouldn't say though, not necessarily.
It
In my
does.
opinion, not necessarily.
no, you stated earlier you want to know. Our question for us: if the girl had multiple bodies from different guys, or one person multiple times, what's better? She's saying, if I'm an employer,
Airhead, yet again.
I'm gonna hire the person that has one job for five years versus 5 different jobs.
But I say not particularly because I personally have had multiple jobs. But it's like
Do you not see that it's an analogy?
I do, but I've had
But
jobs.
you refuse to accept the analogy.
I don't refuse to accept it. I just feel like
Yeah, you're refusing to accept the analogy.
I just feel like I've had
March.
jobs. Oh my God, come on.
She was burning the show the entire time. Like, oh my God.
No, I feel like I've had jobs and it's just like I don't like the job, so I leave. Like I could be at the job for a week. It doesn't matter
So then
how many jobs
why would
I've
I hire
had.
you knowing you're gonna leave the job? Think about it. If I'm an employer, I want the best employee possible. Why am I gonna hire you? You're gonna leave.
I mean, that's literally how I am, but I'll lie on my resume. Like I've had multiple jobs, but like
They're gonna see this.
I will work at a job for a week and not like it
Admitted
and
on
quit.
the internet of false documents.
Why are you looking like that? I will work at a job for a week, and if I don't like it, I will quit and just go into something better. It's all about moving up, in my opinion.
That's not the question.
I feel like work is not.
He's using an analogy.
I
and you're
understand the
being
analogy,
technical.
but work
not
is
the
not the same as sex.
This is incredible.
Working is not the same as sex with somebody. I've had multiple jobs, and I will work a job
Airhead.
and not like the job and leave and go to another
Clown
job.
world, bro.
What's your point?
Clown
The
world.
point is, work is not the same as a sexual relationship.
But that's why he's
Work
using
is
it
not the
as an
same as
analogy.
I understand the analogy,
Friend.
but I feel like
Friend,
Merch.
friend,
Get to the
friend,
point.
friend, friend,
Get to the point.
All right.
Oh my God. Okay,
Get to the
am I
point.
tripping?
She's
Am I
trying to help
tripping?
you, friend.
Yes.
No,
Am I really
friend.
tripping?
You are
Yes.
falling. Yeah.
I want to ask you,
You
am I
stupid.
tripping? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I feel like you're kind of like disregarding the analogy a little bit.
I understand the analogy, but I feel like work is work. Sex is
Okay,
sex.
I'm just gonna say it. Only
But I understand
women.
the
I'm just gonna be honest about this. Only women have the privilege of being stupid. I'm continue on. Like really, real talk, bro. Like yo, I people could call me an asshole or whatever, but this podcast proves it all the time. If you're pretty enough, you can be stupid and no one will care. And no offense, right? I'm sure you probably don't have a
you're
problem.
an asshole. I don't.
Or they won't tell you.
But I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. Is like you're pretty. You probably don't have a trouble, getting dates or whatever. But
Not really.
as a guy, right? Like if you're dumb as a dude, you're gonna feel consequences for that.
Yeah.
If you're dumb as a girl, it doesn't matter. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's true.
Like only women get the privilege of being incompetent. Men don't. You have to be competent as a guy.
That's true. There's
not
a man
definitely
will take you
standards
as you are, but
Was
a
that?
woman. I said a man will take you as you are, but
Yeah.
a woman would not.
They will not.
We're gonna end off on that. That is very true. Most men take women as they are. Women take men and they want to mold them to what they really want, type of thing. That's typically how it goes. But that'll be the end of the show. Hope like, share, and subscribe, and catch me next video. Peace.